What is up, YouTube land? I am VinTendo.
I'm Joe.
And I'm one half of the Gonk Bros.
And welcome back to the Retro Grab Bag Show. We have a special guest in the house. We have one half of the Gonk Bros, like he said, the Gonk Wars, right?
Yes, on TikTok.
On TikTok.
Yep.
There's a link in the description. Go check him out. That is the best video meme, Star Wars video memes you can find on TikTok, without a doubt. I love them. Also, check out our show on TikTok. Check out the Gonk Bros. We're taking the world by storm. So we are here. We are here to talk about bits and pieces of the season 2 of The Mandalorian, right? So we're gonna get right into it. Kind of go linear with it, like as this stuff happened. So, oh, by the way, spoiler alert: if somehow you're watching this
and you haven't seen
if you haven't seen season 2, something's wrong with you. But so the first thing that got me was the first episode, Boba Fett's armor showing up. Joe, what do you think about that? Saw his armor, right?
Yeah, in the beginning, I thought that was really cool. I like the idea. I think we all heard bits and pieces of, hey, that might happen. And
I was surprised it happened that quick.
I was like, okay. But yeah, right off the bat, episode 1, I mean, the episode ended with him standing off in the distance. So we knew there was going to be a big Boba Fett part, I guess, at that point, but we didn't know what was going to happen. Yeah,
Larry, what did you think?
You know, looking back at that, like how Cobb Vanth got the armor itself is just amazing. You know, that storyline, the character development for him is off the charts. It's amazing.
That was a cool character.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites from the whole show.
It's a shame. Well, he'll come back. They'll figure a way to get him back.
I think he'll come back.
Well, you know where you might see him. Well, we'll talk about this later. We'll talk about that later. Let's talk about the name reveal for Grogu, and I'll go first, and then we'll go to the Gonk Wars here. At first I was like, what the hell is that name? What the hell is that name? Grogu, right? Because it's been Baby Yoda for a year and a half or more, I guess, if you want to think of it that way. But then I really liked it. Yeah. What do you think?
At first I was like iffy about it, but I love it. Honestly, I love it, I feel like over time it'll get really good. You know what I mean? Like people will like that just as much as they like Yoda. You know what I mean? I feel like it fits perfectly.
Do you think maybe they won't even say Baby Yoda?
No, I mean, Baby Yoda was it ever really a thing? Wasn't that just what people said?
Well, yeah, I had heard that they were calling him that on the set. Jon Favreau mentioned that. Yeah, so I think...
See, I always thought the official name on set was the child.
The child. Good job. So he's had 3 names. Yeah, that's a great point, Joe. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. But, so you're saying Baby Yoda was an official studio name?
Yeah.
I'm not even sure the child... No, because the child is actually on the merchandise.
On the merchandise,
right?
Yep. Wow. The child is on the merchandise.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
But it's good to have, like you said, it's good to have a name for him now, like Yoda.
Well, they can also sell that same product again and switch the name.
Right.
Like Nintendo does. Yeah. All right, so Ahsoka shows up. I really enjoyed that. I'd seen the very beginnings of the Clone Wars cartoon, and that's about it. So, Gonk Bros, how was that portrayed?
So you look back at Clone Wars Ahsoka, like all of season 7 is basically like her being this Jedi Knight, being trained by Anakin, obviously.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah,
and she is just a complete badass. Like,
sweet.
No spoilers, obviously, but she fights Maul in there.
Right.
You can see her progress going, and then
I gotta see this.
You look at Mandalorian, and it's like, oh, this is great. You know what I mean? This is great.
They brought an energy to that,
to
that episode, to made me really want to go back and watch.
Yeah,
like, I should bang those out. Did you watch those two a little bit? You've seen them.
Like
season 7.
Like Jared mentioned, we jumped into season 7, but it's not one of the things we saw all the seasons. And I know there's so much out there on Disney Plus now with Rebels and Clone Wars that if I didn't work for a living, I'd probably be watching those all the time. So
it's tough.
I heard it's really good stuff.
Isn't there like 8 more Star Wars movies or shows coming out? There's
like
a lot. I don't know if it's 8,
there's
but
a good amount.
Lot.
But Ahsoka, it's very badass, especially in Mandalorian. You can see that.
I love it. Yep. I'm gonna have to go back and see more of her. So the comedian Bill Burr. First of all, I love his stand-up. He's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Saw him in season 1 of the Mando, and I'm like, he played a good despicable guy. What did you think of him in season 2, Joe?
going back a little bit, I remembered him from season 1, but in the middle of season 1 and season 2, I got into that F is for Family show on Netflix, which is his show.
Okay.
And then I really became a fan of his. So I totally forgot he was a character in season 1 because I didn't really know who he was at that point. So when he showed up in season 2, episode 9 or 8 or whatever that was, I'm like, whoa, that's Bill Burr. And it was very hard for me to watch him in like a role of cursing and being a comedy guy and all that stuff, because I don't know if you ever watched any of his comedy. It's raw. You know what I mean? So, but I liked it. I mean, and I never knew that he was like an actual actor. You know what I mean? Like, outside of being stand-up. I mean, I even found out he was in Breaking Bad. So I never knew any of that about him. So definitely
he
a fan.
had those small parts in things, but if you didn't see his stand-up, did you ever see Bill Burr stand-up before?
I watched a little bit.
Of it?
Yeah,
it's freaking great.
It's so funny.
But his character. Well, how'd you feel about his character in season 2, Larry?
I loved it, honestly.
Wow, I agree.
It's great character development from season 1. Because you look back at season 1, you're like, oh, who is this guy? You know what I mean?
Most good shows will do that, and I've seen that for years. The guy that you really didn't like in season 1 is now the guy you can relate to. It's not that you like him, or he's the hero, right? Yeah. He's oh wow, I can now relate to this guy, and every good show does that.
Yep.
So I thought they did really well with that. That was really good writing.
Yep.
So good segue into this next part. Boba Fett comes back. We see Slave One boom in. It was awesome when Grogu was doing the Force thingy on the rock. Yep. We'll start with Gonk Bros on this. What do you think about what do you think about Boba Fett coming back into this universe?
I love it. I mean, to be able to see Boba contribute with Mandalorian, I mean, it's great. He's a complete badass. I mean, killing those stormtroopers, you see him actually doing something, because like you look back at the originals, he didn't kill anyone. He actually didn't kill anyone. But you look at Mandalorian, and this actually shows that he's like this insane bounty hunter. Yeah, you know what I mean? I feel like it helps his character development greatly.
Jumps.
And
the action with that jumps. You're right, because he was just kind of capturing people. He was menacing, but
you never really saw him like in action.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I completely agree.
I feel like that just helped. And
and he helped Mando, Den.
Yep.
And Grogu along the way. Joe.
Yep.
Boba's back. How do you feel?
My view's a little different. Now going back to your first point of the armor.
Yeah.
I love that idea. And going into it, like I said, we didn't know how season 2 was going to be. When the first episode or second episode came out and the Marshal shows up and they're fighting, the Tusken Raiders are in that episode. Awesome. They're getting destroyed. I'm just loving this episode. I'm just loving it. And he shows up with Boba's armor, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be how they're going to incorporate Boba Fett. When he came back, I had a feeling like this is totally not needed. Okay. Boba Fett's a great character, big character in my mind, in the Star Wars universe. And to bring him in to be with the Mandalorian, I just thought it wasn't needed at all, because Mandalorian is its own show. Season 1 was its own thing, you know what I mean? And you talked about Ahsoka too. Yeah. It really just seems to me like they shoehorned in Boba Fett when they didn't need to. And I would have liked if they would have just, here's his armor, here's the relic, and then not had Boba Fett come back.
I think that was a legitimate concern for quite a bit of people. You either loved it like Gonk Bros and I have, or you were like, I need more of the actual show, because it did. You're actually right. It did not. It kind of left Mando, but I don't know if you saw this. This was well after that. The creator was talking about the show, and talking about season 3, and we'll get to this in a little bit. But he was like, the show will go back to what you know and love. He actually said that, and I think that's what you're talking about.
Right, and that's exactly
it's
what
going
to
go back to the Mandalorian.
And now, I mean, just the way, because
it was great.
This is how everything is. It's like, I'm pretty sure all of these guys were brought in just to sell the new shows coming out. Because as we know,
of course,
big spoiler, there's other Boba Fett stuff coming now that we know. And that is, season 1 didn't have any of that. And it's not like Disney needed to be like, okay, we need to revamp Mandalorian. That's when you bring in a Boba Fett. That's when you bring in these big characters. And a season 2 that came off of a season 1 that everyone loved without any of that stuff, I didn't like it. Now, as a Star Wars fan, did I like seeing, Boba come in? Did I see others come in?
Yeah.
Yes. But as a Mandalorian fan, I did not like it.
Well, he did kind of take a back seat for the rest of the season.
Exactly.
He was so I could see your point, but I could kind of see where I'm thinking of like as the writer, like they were like, we don't want to mess with this too much because of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Speaking of that next episode, Boba Fett, you see him again, you're like, okay, let's see him again, and he's in his armor has a brand new paint job.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not. I thought something was wrong. I honestly thought something went wrong, like with my TV or something. So it's somewhere in between those two episodes. Him and Mando painted it. So I'm guessing because they're on the Slave One, he might have had some old spray paint cans back there.
Perfect shade.
I think what that needed, personally, was just no dialogue in the beginning, a scene where they're literally painting the thing over. Because you had the rusty armor. You had that. You had the bullet shots and all this stuff, and like you had that worn feeling, and now he's just like a brand new Boba. But I've heard theories about that. Is because he is a new Boba this time. Yeah. Because he lived so long without his armor, he's not that guy anymore. But let's see the Book of Boba Fett. I think that'll. I don't know. Have you heard anything about that?
I haven't heard much, but
there's a lot of theories. Obviously,
yeah.
What I mean, as far as the internet and Star Wars is concerned, I think that's the most theorized thing in the world. Has to be.
Yeah.
Right.
We need to see how he got out of the Sarlacc pit. They need to show
that's
that.
Coming.
And
like,
if they don't,
because we've read. I've told you this show. We've read about it in books, and we've heard different stories in comics. It's there, but let's see what this show does.
Yep.
Because we didn't know Bib Fortuna was still alive and a sloth at this point, like Jabba was.
And now
he's
so
fat. Because he absorbed Jabba's lifestyle.
Yep.
He absorbed the Hutt lifestyle, which is being a glutton. And he's huge. Then he's dead.
Yeah, he got murdered.
All right, so let's. I have three more things here, and he got murdered, and we'll wrap this up. So we don't have to get too much into this, but we got to talk about Luke's return. I kind of expected this, but when his X-wing boomed in there, I was already. I thought it was great, but I was already still Slave One boomed in a couple episodes ago. Mm-hmm. So they kind of did the same thing there. What did you think of Luke coming back?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. It's always nice to see Luke back.
Being badass
what I mean?
like that. I did like that. Yeah.
You look back at the sequels. I mean, that's not Luke. Sequels Luke is not Luke. So
that's a whole nother 3 episodes.
It's complete junk.
Yeah,
complete junk. And
yeah, Mark Hamill talks about that all the time.
Yep.
He
hated it.
He's like, nah, we were at odds the whole time. Like, it's not the right Luke.
And now you see Luke come in, just destroy these Death Troopers, or Dark Troopers, or something like that. Yeah. And I mean, it just shows how powerful, like even more powerful, like after Return of the Jedi. Like he was a Jedi. He could be a Jedi Master in Return. Oh, yeah. And you look at this, and you're like, oh my gosh. Yeah, you know what I mean? That crush, that Force crush. Yeah, it's crazy.
What do you think?
Same things Jared said. And that was one of my questions was how many years has it been since Return of the Jedi, and what was the answer to that? 6, 7, something like that.
I think it was around
season 2.
I think it was around like
season 2,
5, 6, or 7.
Yeah,
so for him to go from where he was at the end of Return of the Jedi to him force crushing a Dark Trooper like that. That was impressive, but
unless you're Rey and then you do it in 1 minute. Anyway,
but yeah, I mean,
Luke, hop right into it.
By the way,
that's a whole other topic. How she got that.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, with Luke coming back, like you said, it was predictable because Grogu was communicating with a Jedi, and at that point,
I thought it was
Order 66. How many?
I thought
I could have seen.
And the only reason I thought it was Mace was because Samuel Jackson and Disney and Marvel, they are buds. Right. That's it. Bring him in, and he's that age.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
So anyway,
that would have been cool, but
he'll be in there
think
somewhere.
I still think that he'll come back eventually.
So he's not dead either then.
Nobody's dead.
No,
not even Darth Maul. and
so when does Darth Vader come back then?
He's back.
No, that next season 3, Darth Vader versus Mandalorian.
I'm sure they'll do something like that. But real quick, Luke's CG face. As soon as I was watching that, I thought it was good. Okay, but as I was watching that, I'm like, when will YouTube do the deep fake? Mm-hmm. And they did it, I believe, that following Monday, and it is 10,000 times better than what it looks like on Disney Plus. So what's going on there? Why can't these people are they doing that at home with their software? and making it actually better because they do it with a lot of movies.
Deep fakes you're talking about?
Deep fakes. Yeah, because what they did was they deep faked to make it look a lot better. Yeah.
Honestly, I have no idea.
How are they doing that?
I don't know.
And how come Disney can't do that?
Right.
I don't know. There's a lot of money involved there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll go this way for the last two. Joe, your favorite one episode from season 2? If you had to pick one.
Definitely the one I mentioned earlier with the Marshal showing the armor. Wow. And yes. I believe that's the same episode with the Tusken Raiders.
Yeah.
Where they had a fight.
That's the first one, isn't it?
And then,
yep.
Was it the first or second?
Yeah,
it's the first one, yep.
Right off the bat, I'm like, this is great. You know what I mean?
That was good.
And that battle scene where they're getting that huge thing out of the cave. I don't know what the name of it was.
Yep.
Who knows?
Loved it. And I just loved, and Jared and I laughed and so much when those Tuskens were running. You know, when they had everything set up. And, and then they're just running, they just get destroyed.
There was a lot of good stuff there.
It's great.
That was my favorite.
Favorite episode? Season 2, Gonk Bros.
It's gonna have to be the tragedy. And
very nice.
Ever since that has to be my favorite because ever since that started, like the episode starts, you just hop right into it. They're going to Tython to put Grogu on the Seeing Rock.
Yeah.
And bang.
Boba
comes
heavy.
back.
It was heavy, yeah.
Bunch of action with Boba, and then I mean, the whole episode is just great. It's sad.
Well, it ends like Empire. Like that episode is the Empire Strikes Back of Mandalorian.
And then,
yeah,
when they take Grogu, I mean, that episode, I like that episode a lot.
How many times did you watch that episode?
I'd say around 10 times.
That's it?
Yep.
I remember when it came out, he was like, I watched it because he would watch it like right when it come out at like 3 a.m. or whatever. And by the time I would,
Gonk Bros doesn't play.
Yeah, he stays up. So normally, like I would watch it then like on a Friday night, and I remember watching that episode with him. He's like, this is my 5th time watching it. I'm like, Jared, it just came out. It just came out this morning. He's like, that's
dedication to his TikTok channel.
Yep.
The Gonk Wars. Check it out.
Gonk Wars.
Link in the description. My favorite episode of season 2 was the Jedi, which was the Ahsoka episode.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I thought that it felt like a siege movie, like an old John Carpenter film. Like, you know what I mean? Like the set was there. I loved it. I thought that was fantastic. And we got a little more about Grogu and everything. Well, we learned his name in that episode.
Yep.
But yeah, so one season 3 prediction, and then we will bounce. Joe.
Just that it goes back to season 1. You know, we're almost get that, and I'm surprised you haven't mentioned it yet. Is just get that Firefly aspect back.
That's where it was.
You get out there, do your bounties, and even if it's one episode per bounty, I don't care. I mean, just get back to that Mandalorian. But I do want to know. I'm hoping they do continue with the Grogu storyline, and not just be like, okay, now we're gonna do another spinoff where it's Grogu and Luke training, and Grogu is not in Mandalorian.
I hope they don't do that
because Grogu is a part of what Mandalorian is. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping he comes back, but I don't know how they will work that in. But in the end, I just hope it goes back to the way season 1 was.
Yep.
I personally don't think we'll see Grogu at all next season.
In season 3,
I don't think we'll see him, but I think we might see him season 4. But I'm hoping, and I think that we'll see Mando, Bo-Katan. They'll head over to Mandalore because they've been talking about that.
That's definitely happening. Very good point. Yeah, with the dark saber.
Yep. I'm hoping to see more Mando with the dark saber. I want to see a lot of that because I mean, you look back at season 2. Obviously, like you guys said before, you don't like. There was so much good character development for Mando, but it's so overshadowed by Boba, Ahsoka, Luke.
Toward the end,
that's what they're going to take out of that season. You know what I mean? They're not going to take out like, oh my gosh, Mando got the darksaber. No, they're going to think about Luke. They're going to think about
times
Ahsoka.
Where he had his helmet off, especially when he took it off for Grogu.
Yep.
That's a big deal. That's bigger than Luke showing up because he's not supposed to ever do that.
That's huge.
Right? So
and
that wasn't because he had to do it for a mission. That was because he was compelled to do it because he loves Grogu. That's it.
Yep.
So yeah, that's a great point.
Yep.
A lot of Din, the Mando.
Yep.
Din Djarin was overshadowed because of all this stuff that
so
you brought up. That's a good point.
I'm hoping that season
Disney
3
needs to listen to this right now.
Yeah.
And get the Gonk Bros on season 3. We'll make this good. My season 3 prediction is it's not going to be Baby Yoda. It's Baby Mr. Miyagi. All right, from Cobra Kai. Now, I don't have a season 3 prediction because I agree with both of you guys. I agree with. Yep, it's going to be a Baby Miyagi. That's my Cobra Kai next
Cobra
season.
Kai now.
Cobra Kai, yes.
Yeah, everyone's watching that too. That's more
It's
relevant,
great.
right?
It's a good one.
It's great.
It's freaking fantastic. We'll have to do one of those later.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Gonk Bros, thanks for joining us here.
Thanks for having me.
On this fine
It's
day.
great.
Many days after the other episodes we filmed recently. Yeah, right. But all right, that is it for this. We'll see you guys next time. And Joe, as Frank would always say,
Play hard.
ugh.